Earnestly podcast here. How you guys doing? Great weekend. Fun weekend. Adventurous weekend for me. I don't get those weekends often anymore. Or at all, really. My weekends consist of me being home, my boys. A little insights of my life a little bit. Like, my wife and I, we don't have a day off together because of our work schedules. And rather than pay for daycare, we kind of sacrifice on our end. So we sacrifice some more time to ourselves on our end. So rather than pay for a babysitter for especially a little one, who's 2 years old, just turned 2 last week, Logan, we decided to, work around the schedule. And basically weekends, she's at work most of the day, and I am home with the boys. So most of the time when we're home, I am always, with the kids, and we'll probably go to the park. We might go to grandma's house a little bit, hang out, maybe go to the cousin's house. It depends on what's going on, but most of the time it's low key. This weekend, however, was different. This weekend was a big weekend for us, both Saturday and Sunday. My cousins and my cousin's daughter, should I say, twin daughters, celebrated their first birthday last week, number one. Actually, the same day as my anniversary, my wife. But also, they came down from Charlotte, North Carolina, and came down to celebrate the birthday with the entire family, as well as them getting baptized in church. And it was a weekend where both events happened on Saturday and then on Sunday. Now for me, it's a little bit of a work to some degree. I live from where they stay at, where everything was located. It's about a little under an hour, but it's still, it's still something. It's still a drive, and not a big drive, but it's still a drive. And then when you have 2 kids with you, it's definitely an adventure. Definitely you have to plan for at least a few hours of being out of the house. And we don't do that often enough to where it's basically a feeling beyond out of your element to some degree. So we've gone from having weekends where we're just low-key relaxing, watching cartoons and having a good time and ordering pizza, to now we're going to be up and down Saturday and Sunday. But it's worth it. My family's worth it. They're great, obviously great people. They deserve it. We went down to Fort Lauderdale. I went alone. My wife had to work. And we went to the birthday party. We had a great time. My sister came in town for the events for 2 days. Obviously see my dad, see all my family came in town and whatnot. It was great. Most of the family came in. I missed my nephews, of course. My mother-in-law didn't make it, but otherwise the rest of the family, came in town. It was great. See my cousins and it's funny. Like you reflect on that. Like you see a family, and especially you get older. Like I'm approaching 40. I'll be 40 next year, and you see us grow, and we grow into our lives, and then we get older, we have our spouses, we get married, and we have our own children. And looking at it now, we all have kids. Well, most of us have kids now. It's really incredible to see the changes in the last decade, and 2 decades. It's amazing how life works. It's amazing how life is so fleeting and it's fast. And if you don't appreciate it, you're gonna lose a lot of time, to some degree. So Saturday was cool. Saturday was rough for me in the sense because, like, my 2-year-old Logan, I love him to death. He is my boy. I call him my best friend because look, I don't favor my kids at all. I don't love one more or the other. I don't do that crap. But there is something to be said about the kids, which parent you prefer more. My oldest son Eli, who's by the way turned 6 yesterday. He's more my mama's boy. Not mom's boy in a bad way, but he's with mom a lot. He loves mom. Mom is that's like his best friend. Well, my 2-year-old now, Logan, is, I guess, favors me. So he kind of got a split household. So I had the kids on Saturday. We were at the Funky Buddha Brewery in Fort Lauderdale. Nice place, by the way. We were there with family, like I said, and my 2-year-old wants to run around and have a good time, which is not a problem. It's that he wants to run around and have a good time without shoes. Now, being a brewery with beer, there's obviously a lot of, the possibility of having broken glass or stuff on the floor that it's a risk to leave him out there and just do what he wants. So, I have an issue trying to hold him, and I'm holding him, and every so often, and pretty much, I don't know, if I tallied out the amount of minutes I held him, from the time I was there to the time I left, I was there, 3 hours? So I figured I held him at least an hour of that, right? My left bicep is killing me. My left is sore as hell. My back is sore. Because he's a big boy. He's 2 years old, but he's a solid, 27 pounds maybe now, by now. And granted, he's slimming down, but he's still solid. He's a big boy. He's solid. He's strong. If the way he's going now, I can see him playing football down the road. But it's one of those things where, he's a handful. We were at one point, my wife and I were at one point talking about having a third kid, and he's kind of like having two kids in one. And he's kind of the reason why we decided not to have a third kid, honestly. We wanted to try for a girl at one point, but anyway, so we went to the birthday party, had a great time with the twins, it was great. Then Sunday, my wife, she took off Sunday, so we could have time to do a bunch of events. We had a lot of things planned on Sunday. So we went out for the christening in the afternoon, had a great time there. I just went to church, went to the after party at my aunt's house, which was a great time with family. We were short on time because we had something planned for Eli, our son, because he has school on his retro birthday and I have to work. We decided he wanted to go to Chili's for his birthday, so we had some family on my wife's end, and some her best friend and her husband came for the dinner, which had a great time, of course. So we had a full day. We had a full 2 days. I'm exhausted, so I'm kind of looking forward to next week. When next weekend, where I can actually relax the kids and I can watch basketball. The playoffs start next week, so I'm looking forward to that. But it's one of those things where, again, I reflect on the time with family, and it was a great time. I told, obviously we miss each other, and we appreciate each other, and I love seeing my brother, my sister, my dad, and then of course my cousins, my aunts, and whatnot, and then my cousins and their wives, and their kids. It's again, life moves, man. My life continues to go. If you're not part of it, if you're not part of the flow, you're gonna miss out on a lot of things. So it was a productive weekend with the family. I couldn't stress enough how much fun I had, but I'm also glad that it's kind of over too, in the sense of I can get back to normal and get my body right again. Because again, having the kids on my own on Saturday, especially too, it's not a problem, but it's just that you have to be alert at all times, and it takes a lot out of you. I remember I came home both nights. I came home both nights, put the kids away, put them to sleep, and thinking, I could, sit down, maybe watch a movie or so, watch a TV show. No, hit the bed and just pass the hell out. So, again, it was, again, a productive weekend, and I had a really good time with it. So I just finished reading the explosive Bleacher Report article, by, I forgot this guy's name. I'll bring it up in a second, but on Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, the Green Bay Packers, and the story of dissension. Of course, Mike McCarthy, head coach, well, no longer head coach, he was fired by the team in December, shortly before the year ended, after a loss to Arizona. Arizona, who actually was the worst team in football last year. And this culminated in a lot of rumors about Aaron Rodgers and the workplace, and the fact that Rodgers was very hard to work with. Mike McCarthy got stale and all that. This story was really explosive, and 10,000 words. And it was such a big article that I actually had and I love to read, for the record, but for me, I feel like I needed to put it on audio. I feel like for me to really get to the, so zone out, because like I said, when you have kids and stuff, and I'm home a lot with especially with the little one, when my older kids in school, I tend to, if I get time down to relax, I might doze off. So I decided to, because I'm a big time podcast listener anyway, I decided to, let me just put this on audio. And by the way, the Pocket app is awesome, and the audio app actually holds it pretty well. So I ended up listening to the whole 10,000 word article in audio form, as opposed to just reading the entire article. By the way, the article was written by Tyler Dunn from the Bleacher Report, which, by the way, great job by Tyler Dunn. This is detailed and everything, and in complimenting everything what's in the article and what I read, really, in the end, both McCarthy and Rodgers look bad in here. Like, McCarthy certainly looks bad in terms of the head coach, in terms of the way he handled things, in terms of being a leader. And I've been critical of him in recent years, especially this past year prior to his firing, saying that he gotten pretty stale. I wasn't saying he was a bad coach. When I was saying that the whole thing got stale, and certainly that was definitely in the article, and that was, even the people who were pro McCarthy in the article, the sources and whatnot, some former players and executives and other players, people who were close to the situation, all acknowledged that McCarthy got a little stale at the end. And that probably added to the frustrations of what Aaron Rodgers was going through. And it's funny because we look at these quarterbacks, and I'm still here. I'm still here on this topic. I still believe that Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback in the history of the National Football League. Didn't say he's the best. It says the most talented. He was all about Michael Vick. No. Aaron Rodgers does more things better than Michael Vick does. It's not even an argument. Okay? He's definitely a far more efficient thrower of the football than Michael Vick. Oh, Vick has a stronger arm. But that doesn't matter. Arm strength is one thing, but being efficient and being able to do, tail the tape, more things makes you more talented. Number 2 on my list is Steve Young, to the record. And we've heard things about this with Rodgers through the years, in recent years too, especially because players like Greg Jennings has always been critical of him, publicly, which, whatever you may feel about that, people coming, out of the locker room to say their piece. I gotta give credit to Greg Jennings here. He's been consistent about it for a long time. Even when people were critical of him, even people like me at one point was critical of him for saying these things publicly, because I always felt like things should be left in the locker room. But again, that's just my opinion. I do have to give him credit for putting his name on it. At least he's not faking the funk and trying to say one thing and then don't use my name though. But I have something to say about this situation. No, put my name on it, which he did, and that's that. But the Aaron Rodgers story, man, he's such a conundrum to me because on the field, obviously, he's phenomenal. Now, he's had a rough couple seasons last couple of years, obviously due to injuries and just the entire Packers roster really just falling to mediocrity and kind of just falling into a place now where this team is falling apart little by little, is deteriorating little by little. Talent-wise, a lot of it has to do with the front office and how they've operated. A lot of it has to do with Mike McCarthy and how he's operated as a head coach. Aaron Rodgers deserves blame also too for how he's operated as a quote unquote leader. Off the field, the stories about him and him not being tight with his family, and obviously he has a brother, Jordan Rodgers, who calls him out on a consistent basis on social media. It's uncomfortable to hear that. Aaron Rodgers doesn't talk to his mother. I mean, which I'm not gonna look. I don't want to sit here and judge people's personal life because some people have reasons for what they do. I've had issues with my parents in the past. I've went through a situation with my mom, who I'm very close to for the record, where we didn't talk for a whole year and a half, or a year and some odd months because of a situation that her and I did not agree on, and I made a decision in the moment because of personal reasons, stress I was going through at the time, decided to kind of just stay away. I'm not proud of it. I don't think it was the right thing to do in the end, in hindsight, but I understand what Rodgers is doing here. Now, I don't know why he's doing it. Certainly he has his reasons, and I'm not going to judge him for it. It is weird that it's gone on for this long. Obviously there's something going on there, because if your brother is calling you out constantly on social media, like it's the plague, constantly doing it, it's something there. But it is weird. He may have reasons. Maybe something happened. But to me, it's just simple. If it's something very innocuous, something very minor in comparison, like unless the guy was sexually assaulted or somebody stole his money, I don't see the reason why you should be not talking to your family. Again, that's my opinion. But he has his personal reasons why he's doing what he's doing. I don't want to judge him. You know what I'm saying? But this article it's deep. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is just very petty. Like again, McCarthy and Rodgers both look bad here. I can't say who looks worse. I mean, I would say Rodgers in a sense because he's still the guy right now with the job. He's still the guy with all the pressure in terms of being. We're rating this guy. Many folks are rating this guy as an all-time great. Well, he is an all-time great. There are folks who think he's better than Tom Brady, and I think he's more talented than Tom Brady. But as a quarterback in terms of the accomplishments and whatnot, he is nowhere in the conversation with Tom Brady right now. That's not even a conversation, And certainly these last couple of years do not help. And a lot of people believe that if McCarthy and Rodgers made things work, if that marriage actually worked for a little while, if they actually were able to put their pettiness aside, this team, Rodgers could have won. Somebody said, I believe, I don't know who it was, but they left at least 5 Super Bowls on the table. Maybe that's a little bit much, because to me, this is what I think about Rodgers too. He's so great that even though Tom Brady has six rings, I think if Aaron Rodgers has 3 rings, he already be surpassing Brady's all-time great, because he's so good. He's so good, and the context also, the fact that Rodgers plays in Temple Conference and whatnot, he'll get a pass on that. But because Rodgers only has 1 Super Bowl, and by the way, the 1 Super Bowl that Aaron Rodgers does have, which it's obviously a great accomplishment. There's many great quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl in an entire career. There have been quarterbacks who have never been to a Super Bowl in an entire career. Dan Marino, for one, has not won a Super Bowl. Never won a Super Bowl, should I say? That Super Bowl it's very forgotten. Like, you forget he won that Super Bowl. He became a starter after Bret Favre, quote unquote, retired. He came back again, of course, but when he retired, and then Rodgers is a starting quarterback, and within the second or third year, he won the title. It was so early that we forgot about it. It's been so long. It's been almost a decade since the Super Bowl championship. So, a lot of pressure on Rodgers this year. And here's the problem. New head coach, Matt LaFleur, inexperienced, young coach, 39 years old. Aaron Rodgers, 35 years old. With a roster that folks, the people who know the game of football, of course, have said that the Packers have improved a little bit on their roster this year through free agency and whatnot. You have the draft coming up in a couple weeks, obviously. But Rodgers ain't getting any younger. And the way he plays football, he's a mobile quarterback. He can move around a lot, takes a lot of hits. He's very random in the pocket. So he's susceptible to getting hit a lot. His career, his window is, forget winning championships, his window of playing at a good to elite level could be smaller than we realize. 2019 is a huge year for Aaron Rodgers. And yet, in a vacuum right now, if you ask me right now, look, we'll have, I always have our previews down the road, done over the summer, closer to the season starts. But if I ask you right now, are the Packers right now, can you just say the Packers right now are a playoff team right now? I gotta tell you, no. I think just the division alone, Chicago's better. Minnesota's better roster than Green Bay. I can argue Detroit is maybe as comparable to Green Bay. Certainly Rodgers is a better quarterback than Matt Stafford, but they're not even a top 2 team in the division right now on paper. So this is a humongous year for Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know where this goes. I mean, again, we'll see what happens going years to come. This year to come, obviously. But this story, I mean, if you guys get a chance to check it out, this article is 10,000 words. Yes, this is an audio, but obviously read if you get a chance. What a great, again, Tyler Dunn did a phenomenal piece on this on Rodgers and McCarthy. Very detailed, great sourcing, all that. Oh man, I mean, Aaron Rodgers has a lot of work, and I think he might be the guy more than anybody next year under the most pressure in the National Football League. So this week is actually the most exciting time for me of the year, really. One of the most exciting times. I don't know if it's actually the most exciting time of the year, but definitely one of. The NBA playoffs start in 4 days. Actually, the season ends Wednesday. Playoffs start Saturday rather, and obviously we'll have a podcast later in the week previewing the first round as well as the NBA awards. You don't Earnestly speaking media. And these races, man, are really good. To me, it's funny. The most interesting races really are the West is pretty much locked up. Obviously, everything in the West is a matter of positioning at this point. But the East, the race for 6 through 8. Obviously, Brooklyn and Orlando clinched their spots over the weekend. Congrats to those. By the way, congratulations to the Magic and to the Nets for the first playoff berth in quite a while. Especially Orlando. First one in 7 years since Dwight Howard left. The Nets haven't made it since the KG, Paul Pierce, Darren Williams, Joe Johnson era, the 1 year when they went all in. I got a lot of friends who are Nets fans too. People put on Matt McQueenie, GW Gross, big time Net fans. So that obviously they're stoked about this whole thing. But Race for 8's been fun, and right now we have, it's fun and depressing at the same time because I'm a Heat fan and we're actually a game out of the 8th spot with 2 games to go. Dwyane Wade's last year. Right now, the Race for 8 now, as we speak right now on this podcast. Detroit is the 8th seed right now. Hold on by a game. Miami's a game behind, and Charlotte also with Miami tied for ninth in the Eastern Conference. And it sucks because you want to see this Dwyane Wade thing go along. He's been really good. Dwyane Wade's been really good this year. Like last year, Last Dance, he's been really good. Even some of these tough losses, he's been very, very, very solid. And you don't want it to end. And you look at Dwyane Wade, it's like, well, why should you retire? Why would you retire for? But in the end, it's what's right for him, right for him. And he was saying over the weekend that he's going to need therapy to get through this next phase now of getting more basketball. And sometimes we forget these athletes are, this is all they know really, and the adjustment's hard. Why do you think Michael Jordan came back and played as long as he could? Why do you think Kobe Bryant played the full 20 years, even though his skills had diminished to a point where it was almost a joke to some people? Why do you think he played so long as he did? Why do you think a lot of players? Why do you think Tom Brady wants to play till he's 45? Because this is all they know. This is all they know. This is all they want to know, I guess. And it's just. What I like about Dwyane Wade's comments is that he at least sounds like a guy that's at least, he gets it. He's honest with himself, that he knows it's going to be tough transitioning from a guy that's played basketball, not as professionally, but pretty much from, since Marquette, since high school. We're talking about pretty much 2 full decades, easily, of just a focus on basketball, and going through college and a Marquette team that was, I believe, was in the Final Four before he got drafted, and then a Heat team that was, that changed the franchise around pretty much. They won 3 championships, the LeBron era, all this stuff. What I love about Dwyane Wade and what he said over, with his interview with Richard Nichols was the fact that he's honest with himself. He said that he needs to need therapy for this, and he's going to do therapy. I respect that. I respect the hell of what he said there. I mean, not a lot of people have a lot of self-awareness like that way, and Dwyane Wade does. And and also further along, pretty much clinches the idea that LeBron James matured in Miami, and Dwyane Wade was a solid person to have as a teammate, as a brother. Dwyane Wade, he gets it. He just gets it. It's funny because my brother last Thursday he gave me a call. This is before the Heat lost the last 2 games to Minnesota and Toronto. He gave me a call and he was saying, I need your opinion. Do you think do you think Dwyane Wade will play beyond this week? Do you think the Heat make playoffs? And should I buy the tickets for the final home game? I told him, honestly, you should, for 2 reasons. Number 1, the schedule is tough. Number 2, the team lost Josh Richardson for 2 weeks, which is going to linger into the playoffs. And I compared the schedules to Detroit, Charlotte, Brooklyn, and Orlando that time. And I said, you better buy those tickets because it's going to be, if seeing Dwyane Wade live for the last time means something to you, that you're willing to pay X amount of dollars for it, I would do it now. Because I'm not confident he'd make the playoffs because of the circumstances around it. You know what I'm saying? So, he did it. He bought it. And I'm glad he did because I mean, again, Detroit needs to fall apart for this to happen, and I don't see it. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see it. So, and I don't think, in closing this segment too, I don't think I've appreciated Dwyane Wade enough this year. I mean, obviously I watch every Heat game as much as possible. Not every Heat game, but, most of the games this year anyway. Obviously work and, family obligations, sometimes get in the way. But, I don't think I appreciated Dwyane Wade's last year enough. And now that's coming down to the finale, most likely, especially if the Heat make the playoffs, it's becoming very sad. It's very sad. And I'm sure we'll do a State of Heat podcast at some point next week or two. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's I don't know. We'll hope they get in, but I have my doubts, man. I really do. So Saturday night, obviously weekend busy doing family things with the family and kids and all that. I didn't watch the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. To be frank, I don't think I've watched one in years. I probably watch it in hindsight. I don't watch it live, honestly. But I was on the I was saying earlier when I got home from with family and I almost passed out in my room. When I passed out, I managed to wake up at some point. I think maybe at midnight. My wife was coming home from work, whatever. I managed to wake up and went on Twitter real quick, just because I sometimes if I'm bored, I'm just going on Twitter, see what's going on, anything is trending, whatever. And I see that Bret Hart's trending. I'm like, okay. I mean, and I knew obviously I knew the Hart Foundation was getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. Which, by the way, the fact that they're inducted now, this late in the game, is asinine to me. I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, I mean, first off, how in the hell is the Hart Foundation not in there now? They should have been there before Jim Hart and Neidhart died. They should have been there like years before. They should have been there probably a year after Bret Hart got inducted in 2004. I think it was 2004 he got inducted in the Hall of Fame. Makes no sense at all. But I see Bret Hart trending on Twitter. So I go on Twitter, check it out, and apparently he was attacked by a fan. He was doing a speech, and then some fan with a Rastafarian like hat, whatever, came through the barricades and basically took down Bret Hart. And first I'm thinking, oh, this might be a shoot. This might be just some fake stuff, whatever. Just because you never know. But then I see the highlights again. I see the reaction, and there's people taking the guy away, and just kind of like reacting in such a way. Some, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Ronda Rousey's boyfriend or fiance was actually beating him up, pretty good actually. Basically, this kind of beating the shit out of the guy. And I should have known it wasn't fake because, Bret Hart, first off, has a lot of health challenges in the recent years. I think he had a stroke about 3-4 years ago, which was actually life-threatening. It was actually pretty serious. I mean, obviously any stroke is pretty life-threatening, but the fact that apparently was to the point where he could have died like instantly, but he recovered, thank God. But I mean, he's 61 years old, but he doesn't age really well, in my opinion. But it's just crazy how things played out. I mean, obviously the guy went to jail. He is ready to arraign and all that. I mean, just what a piece of shit, though, man. Just to jump on there, and not only that, to attack the guy. I mean, if you look at it from the big picture, the guy. I mean, Bret Hart has had a lot of challenges. So for him to even do that, I mean, I think it's sickening, in my opinion. But yeah, I watched obviously the clip of that, and it's just and again, I'm actually going through my. As I was saying on the podcast last week, one of the pods I did, one of the 4 pods I did last week, I had active week last week, probably going to be active week this week also too. Going through my 1997 binge. I'm actually, as we speak, as it's recording, I'm actually in the middle of WrestleMania 13. I should be done with it. I think I'm still at the end of the event. I'm like another 20 minutes in the event, but anyway, I'm kind of rambling here. But it was, watching Bret Hart and going back to what I'm watching, Bret, 1997, I talked about the last pod, about how important that year was in WWE. That was, in my opinion, Bret Hart's best year. That actually was his best and most productive year. I mean, yeah, he won a title, I think, twice that year. He won it after the pay-per-view in February in her house for the Final Four, and then lost a day later to Psycho Sid. Then he got it back again until SummerSlam 97. And then lost it at the Montreal Screwjob. I mean, obviously got screwed in a match against Shawn Michaels, and then he left the WF. But it's again one of those things where that 97 years is fascinating. I'm watching it in order, in chronological order. I'm going through March now, and just seeing the business change. But again, it's really fucked up seeing what happened on Saturday with Bret Hart, man. I'm glad that there were people there handling the situation, quote unquote handling the situation, because that guy truly was a scumbag when he did. So, and I'm sure Bret Hart's okay. Bret Hart finished the speech, of course, and he was good. So, but yeah, that's crazy shit, man. Crazy shit. Before I go, a big congratulations and shout out to Virginia men basketball, who defeated Texas Tech last night in the national championship game, 85-77. Congrats to Tony Bennett and the Virginia basketball team. What a story, especially in a span of 1 year. This team, Virginia, number 1 seed last year, being the first number 1 seed to lose to a 16 seed in the first round. And literally a year later, win the entire thing. Win the entire national championship. I tell you, sports sports is a funny thing, dude. Sports is a weird thing. You know, look, I wasn't rooting for it. I didn't have interest in the game necessarily. During the tournament, I mean, when Florida State got knocked out and Michigan got knocked out, I was rooting for Auburn in the whole thing. Auburn, probably should have won that game on Saturday, although I would say that's a foul. The last play of the game where the 3-point shot, that was a foul. I hate to say it. But again, tonight, another reminder why sports is great. And Virginia, and the story. And then we come out for the stories and the narratives. And even though college basketball isn't one of once was, at least to me anyway, seeing this story. Look, again, this school was a number 1 seed last year, lost to a 16-seeded school. And then and just a full year later, did not only come back as number 1 seed, they won national championship too on top of that. I mean, that's insane. I mean, that is just amazing. An amazing story. So, again, shout out to Virginia and Tony Bennett again, the head coach, and that school. I mean, again, I didn't have really interest in the game. I guess to some degree I was rooting for Texas Tech to some degree, but it doesn't really matter. But wow, what a game! What a game! Anyway, that's today's podcast. Again, like last week, had a loaded week of shows. I think this week will be very similar. I know we have a Shoot the Shit pod with G and Ross coming up this recording on Thursday afternoon. That should drop, I think, on Thursday as well. We're going to have also a NBA, Earnest Speaking Media NBA Awards, as well as the first round predictions, I believe, of Mark Francois. That will drop on Friday, and maybe other pods around there. So, again, Twitter, E7, the website, earnestspeaking.net. Until then, love you guys, and until the next episode. See ya.